Virtual currencies, a growing global phenomenon, comes under scrutiny in the Red Chamber as senators question their viability as a form of investment. Administrative panel of inquiry investigating the circumstances that led to the suspension of DG Securities and Exchange Commission, Munir Gwarzo, recommends his sack. January was indeed a favorable month for investors in the Nigerian stock market as equities performed impressively all through January. In fact, the all-share index rose far above major indexes around the globe in percentage terms. This is Business Express reaching you live from our Abuja studios. I am Muplang Dakok, your guide for the day, which happens to be the last for the month. African heads of state insist they have a clear mandate to work with both public and private enterprises to ensure the business environment is favorable and attractive to the international business community. The UN Economic Commission for Africa, ECA, in partnership with Corporate Council of Africa, CCA, hosted heads of states from 5 African countries at the inaugural Africa Business and Investment Forum held on January 30, 2018 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where they made this position known. Vera Songwe, Executive Secretary of the UN Economic Commission on Africa, said the Africa Business and Investment Forum demonstrates a real commitment by African leaders that they are focused on paving the way for private investors in the US and the rest of the international community to invest in Africa. Over 150 CEOs and senior executives of key US and African companies, both multinationals and SMEs, also participated in the forum, contributing to the ongoing dialogue around Africa to increase opportunities for business partnerships, secure commitments to, as well as track the adoption of business-friendly policies and showcase countries and policies that are contributing to an enabling environment for enhanced African regional and global trade and investment. Still talking investment opportunities, the federal government says it will partner with franchise business development services to promote the business chains and branding of made-in-Nigerian goods. The Minister of State, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, said this while receiving members of the group in Abuja. The minister observed that the initiative proposed by the group aims to scale up genuine brands and give opportunities to over 30 million entrepreneurs in the country.
Because that's where we've seen major successes. We need to go to other sectors so that we can engage or we can have a more inclusive spread.
The pilot scheme will commence with 10 business operators. The Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, has handed a 2-week ultimatum to Intels to remit an outstanding $48 million that ought to have been paid into the agency's Treasury Single Account, TSA, in 2017. Managing Director of NPA, Ms. Hadiza Bala Usman, said Intel's notice of termination would stand if the company fails to settle its debt. The non-compliance with the TSA regulation by Intels has been a source of disagreement between both parties. She insists the logistics firms collects revenue on behalf of Nigeria Ports Authority and kept retaining those revenues in their coffers. Latest data released by the Nigeria Communications Commission, NCC, shows that internet subscriptions stood at 94.8 million naira in November, representing a year-on-year growth of 2.6%. The figure implies density of 51% population, estimated at over an average of around 16% as estimated by McKinsey. In November, there were 951 million subscriptions recorded, compared with 912,000 the previous month. Internet subscription via mobile networks accounted for over 95% of total subscriptions in November. Today we look at issues in the budget process as the Director General of the Budget Office meets the media and civil society organizations to discuss the 2018 budget. Ben Akebweze says the Budget Office is looking at early budget submission to the National Assembly for the 2019 fiscal year. This, according to him, will help to give a better budget performance and impact on the masses. Let's listen to highlights from that meeting.
That provision in 1 year out of that period doesn't then mean that it's inconsistent. The other thing to note is that in the 2018 budget, remember I said earlier that we're now capturing funding by development partners in the budget as well, the fund and the expenditure. As far as we know, there is a plan for what proof of concept in terms of that plan, the program for the basic health care care provision fund. There's in the 2018 budget there is indeed a provision for a pilot implementation of it in a few states. So it is not therefore to say that the budget doesn't have anything provided for it.
To shed more light on the budgetary process is Azubuike Nwokoye of Action Aid. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So what would you make of the back and forth movement of the budgetary process?
For many of us as citizens, one of the challenges the time frame of the budget, which is quite a big challenge, and also in terms of citizens' participation, in terms of coming up with budgetary allocations that will impact on their lives. And the issue of also the challenge of, at the end of the day, the capital component of the budget is not spent. As at when it was getting to about November, the MDAs were still doing about over 20%. So it means that both the government looking at the legislature and the executive need to find a way, because it means that our money is being wasted as Nigerians. Wasted in the sense that at the end of the day, civil servants will receive salaries, then capital is not implemented and it is rolled over, and you have the back and forth with the executive and the legislator.
You talked about participation. What would you say about inputs of civil society groups and other Nigerians in the process?
The thing is, more needs to be done. Very little participation of CSOs is usually done at the MTF level, I mean.
Okay.
But in terms of consulting citizens around the country and also ensuring that the projects that are designed impact on their lives, because you can't shave somebody's hair when the person is not seated there. It means that you get your priorities wrong
Okay. So what are the key areas that you find need change in the budget?
One, the timeline of the budgets.
Yes, you mentioned that.
They needs to be sorted out.
Okay.
Then the recurrent versus capital. Capital should be implemented 100%.
Okay.
And not while recurrent. And you find out that in this 2018, recurrent is still growing and capital is reducing.
So let's talk about late submission of the assent of the budget. What do you think this will have on the economy?
Generally, you know, because what happens with that is the issues I just raised about how by the time the last budget for 2017, for instance,
Yes.
was finally assented around June. And by the time releases start, civil servants will get paid. Civil servants will get paid, but capital projects which will touch the lives of people, not much will be done. And then you find out that that also has an impact on key sectors, the health sector, the agriculture sector, the education sector, and so on. And issues around even what the budget has to offer to young people. For instance, in Nigeria, we have a burgeoning youth population that needs to be really taken care of. You know, you find out that the budget is not creating enough jobs. The budget is not facilitating enough even the private sector. So at times government might argue that private sector should come and do this, but government needs to create the enabling environment by making sure that they do the right thing at the right time. Because if you do the right thing at the wrong time, then you get it wrong. Then we lose our commonwealth.
Citizens' participation. What do you think needs to be done for citizens to participate more in the budget? Yeah,
before call for budget circulars, citizens need, the MDAs, Ministry of Budget and National Planning, need to organize consultative meetings across wide sectors of citizens. I will use agriculture sector as an example, for instance. They need to organize a stakeholders consultative meeting to look at the priorities, and so that the citizens themselves can make input and say this will work and this will not work.
Thank you, Azubike Nwokoye of Action Aid.
Thank you
for joining us on the program. Data from the Nigerian stock market this Wednesday shows that the all-share index lost 0.34% to close at 44,343.65 basis points. Volume of trade was 655 million, valued at 7.763 billion naira in 7,091 deals. Equity capitalization ended at 15.895 trillion naira. The month of January enjoyed sustained growth from rallies at the close of last year. Investors' appetite increased as profit-taking made little impact on the market. Let's join Musa Abubakar for a look at figures from the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Trading on the floor of Nigerian Stock Exchange on Monday closed on a positive note. The all-share index gained 1.22% at 44,306.48 basis points, while market capitalization was 15.882 trillion naira. The trend continued with 0.42% gain on Tuesday, after 876 million shares valued at 7.430 billion naira were traded in 8,780 deals. The all-share index finished 44,493.79 basis points, while market capitalization stands at 15.949 trillion naira. Transcorp, Diamond and Skybank had the most shares traded. Guinness led the gainers chart, while Nestle and Seplat led the losers chart.
To look at the market's performance is Yusuf Modibo, Vice Chairman Tido Securities. You are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Can we talk about how the market has been this week? What do you
Yeah,
think of
the
it?
market has been nice. At least I have been trading from Monday to Tuesday and up to today.
Okay.
The gains that were achieved in last week were further consolidated,
Okay.
and we're really enjoying it.
Okay.
I can assure you.
Okay.
Yes.
So what would you say were the special moments this week?
The special moments, especially for today, we saw flour mills rights going to about 10 naira.
Okay.
Just the value of the rights itself.
Okay.
This is something that started at 60 kobo.
Okay.
So it's traded at up to 10 naira today, and it closed at 10 naira.
Okay.
So what it means is, if somebody is going to buy the rights at the main rights at 27 naira, that means you add 10 naira to it, it takes you to 37 naira, which means your total cost will now be 37 naira. And incidentally today, the flour mills also released their results, which was fantastic. They've made virtually more than 50% on the profit that they made in the third quarter of last year.
Okay.
So they released their results today, and it was fantastic. Perhaps that is what drove the flour mill rights. And you know, they're doing rights now. They've released their results. Tomorrow again, they're also coming to the market to tell us the facts behind the figures.
So what do you think were the driving factors for most of the sectors?
Well, the driving factor mainly is the fact that we now have improved earnings, foreign exchange earnings, and with that we also have improved, which consequently meant liquidity is improved, and therefore foreign investors who want to come in are assured that, look, if they come and invest, they will be able to repatriate their own earnings, whatever they make from the market. Now, coupled with, on top of that, you know, the level of transparency and accountability in our affairs as a nation has also improved.
Okay.
So that is also a kudos to us. Now, on top of that, you have improved regulation. The Stock Exchange, the Securities and Exchange Commission are doing a good job. And they've raised the standards, and we, the practitioners, that is the operators in the market, have also followed suit, because we have seen the need for us to really follow the standards. And this is why we are seeing these results.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a last note, what are the stocks to look out for this week and next month?
Essentially, it is difficult to say these are the stocks to look at.
Okay.
It is a market, and any stock, anything can happen to any stock. You know, the end game is that every market that is made depends on demand and supply. But of course there are some underlying factors, but the end result is it is just demand and supply, and that demand and supply is based on perception, is based on the fundamentals, both technical and fundamental factors, which you have to put into account. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr. Modibo, for joining us on the program.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
On the final day of trade, major markets around the world are turning in negative figures. We now bring you developments in some markets, beginning from Africa, with Amina Naujem as our guide.
Markets in Africa record mixed sentiment yesterday, 30th January 2018. South Africa JSI closed on a downward trend, losing 2.16% to close at 52,700 basis points. Nairobi SE20 also recorded a loss of minus 0.32% to close at 3,727.37 basis points. Meanwhile, Ghana yesterday posted positive sentiments, gaining 0.85% to close at 3,059.93 basis points. Tunisia also gained 0.31%, while Nairobi lost 1.69%. Now outside Africa, European stocks all recorded negative sentiments. FTSE lost 1.09%. DAX 0.95%, while CAC posted minus 0.8 cent to close at 5,473.78 basis point. In Asia, stocks also posted negative sentiments. Nikkei closed 23,991.97 to lose 1.43%. Hang Seng Index recorded minus 1.09%, while Shanghai closed at 3,488.19 basis point. U.S. equities market started slow with Dow Jones Industrial Average, Nasdaq Composite and S&P 500 all in negative territory.
That wraps up this package. Let's do it again this Friday. I am Moplang Dakok.